Hello again. I just want to remind everybody to please make sure that your lines are muted at all times so that will interfere with others listening to the presentation. At the end of the presentation, you will have opportunity to send in comments, messages, and we'll explain more about that during the presentation. So it is about 5 minutes after, and we want to keep everything moving and everybody's time is important. So we will start the presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Route 311 Berry Hill Connector Road Virtual Design Public Hearing. We appreciate your interest in the Route 311 Connector Road project. The presentation that you are about to see has been pre-recorded. Staff will be available during and afterwards to answer any questions. Comments and questions may be submitted after the hearing via one of the 4 methods that will be discussed during the presentation. Given the unique circumstances of the COVID-19 outbreak, along with our commitment to protecting public health during this national emergency, VDOT is conducting this virtual design public hearing to avoid in-person contact. This presentation will cover the same information that Lynchburg District staff would have shared during the in-person meeting. However, the comment process will be different. Details on how to submit your comments and have your questions answered will be covered later in this presentation. All project information can be found on VDOT's website, www.virginiadot.org. The virtual design public hearing has been convened by the Virginia Department of Transportation and is being held to receive and consider comments for the Route 311 Berry Hill Connector Road project. You may have attended previous public hearings conducted by VDOT. However, for the benefit of those who have never attended one, I would like to explain why and how VDOT conducts a public hearing. A public hearing has 4 essential purposes. First, to inform the public of the planning of the project and to present recommendations based on the design to date. Second, to describe the project so that those attending can determine if the project will affect their lives and property. Thirdly, to provide the public an opportunity to see information and express their views at this stage in the planning process when flexibility to respond to comments still exists before design decisions are finalized. Lastly, this hearing is also used to develop a record of public views and participation to accompany recommendations for subsequent decisions. This virtual public hearing is being held in compliance with state laws. The transcripts for this hearing will be made available for the official record. The department will proceed with the final documentation for the design approval process. Your statements and comments will be addressed in this document and will be given full consideration in the final recommendation for the design of the Route 311 Connector Road project. Hello, my name is Raina Rosado, and I am the project manager for the Route 311 Connector Road project. We have a few members of the team online with us today that I will introduce. We have Brian Casto, Lynchburg District's Location and Design Engineer, Matthew Lipscomb, Lynchburg District's Hydraulic Engineer, Matthew Flora with AECOM, that is our Drainage Designer and Engineer, Kevin Bradley, Lynchburg District's Environmental Manager, Michael Sprouse, VDOT's Assistant Right-of-Way Manager, and lastly, Brandy Marchand, a VDOT Right-of-Way Senior Agent. During the presentation, if you have any questions, they can be submitted through the chat box below. After the presentation, we will stay online to answer as many questions as possible. If your question does not get answered due to time limitation, we will follow up promptly. This slide contains the agenda for the virtual design public hearing. We will review briefly the public comment process, review the overall project, discuss the environmental process, and conclude with discussion of the next steps. How to submit your comments. Comments will be accepted in a number of ways. You may leave a verbal comment via a voicemail at 434-856-8253. Submit a written comment via email using reina.rosado@vdot.virginia.gov or via mail at Virginia Department of Transportation, 4219 Campbell Avenue, Lynchburg, Virginia, 24501. Attention, Reina Rosado. Alternatively, online in the chat below or on the project page on VDOT's website at www.virginiadot.org. Comments must be received or postmarked within 10 days after the virtual design public hearing, Friday, August 14th, 2020, to be considered part of the official public hearing record. Here is some brief history and project background. The megasite developed by the Danville, Pennsylvania Regional Industrial Facility Authority, also known as RIFA, is located on an approximately 3,500-acre site along Berry Hill Road, U.S. Route 311. The connector road will be the primary access outside the boundaries of the megasite. The Danville MPO developed and submitted a smart-scale application in the spring and summer of 2018. The submission was in partnership with the City of Danville, Pennsylvania County, and RIFA. The Smart Scale project was scored and was identified to receive state high priority project funding in the spring of 2019. Another funding stream, Route 58 Corridor Development Funds, was identified and placed on the project, and the Smart Scale funding was removed. The primary purpose of the project is to improve mobility, safety, functionality, and connectivity primarily along the Route 58 corridor. Some secondary points are the connector road will reduce travel times with the development of the megasite, as well as boost economic development and provide more direct access to the megasite. This location map illustrates the approximate location of the new Route 311 connector road project that was shared during the location public hearing in June of 2019. The connector road project shall connect and provide an alternate means of transportation to the megasite industrial park and reduce the traffic load on existing Route 311 Berry Hill Road. The connector road has been designed to meet the GS3 Rural Connector Road standards with a design speed of 45 miles per hour. This new roadway will extend from Route 311 Berry Hill to Route 58 Danville Expressway. The ultimate design condition is to provide a 4-lane divided highway with a concrete raised median approximately 6 feet wide. The current design will present a typical section that serves present-day needs while designing for future improvements. The current connector road typical section will build 2 12-foot lanes with 8-foot wide shoulders, one in each direction, that will later serve as the eastbound lanes in the future, and will grade for the westbound lanes. This allows for the installation of infrastructure that can be modified in the future that will mitigate future environmental impacts to existing streams and wetlands and surrounding properties. There are 5 secondary roadways that will be redeveloped to provide a cohesive connection to the new connector road's horizontal and vertical alignment. The typical section for Route 874 Buford Road, Route 1260 Oak Ridge Farm Road, Collie Lane, and Route 1055 Bachelor Hall Farm Road will consist of 2 11-foot lanes with 5-foot wide shoulders. The next few slides will represent the plan view of the corridor. After reviewing each plan view, I will zoom in to allow for a closer look. As we review the project, I will highlight significant aspects of the design. Beginning at the intersection of Route 311, the connector road will tie into the existing two-lane section, and as we travel eastward, the pavement width will begin to widen to accommodate the new Route 311 connection to the connector road. At this intersection, the design will incorporate a right turn lane in the westbound direction to allow for free flow movement onto existing Route 311. The through movement from Berry Hill will continue to the 58 bypass rather than intersecting with Route 58. Additionally, approximately 1,150 feet of existing Route 311 Berry Hill Road will be abandoned and obscured. Continuing eastward towards Route 874 Buford Road, the horizontal and vertical alignment along Buford Road has been designed to improve the overall function of the roadway and to provide sight distance at the new intersection of the proposed connector road. These plans feature several culverts and stormwater basins. The storm sewer system was designed to meet the 10-year design storm event. The culvert crossings were designed to ensure that impacts to the 100-year water surface elevations were minimized to protect adjacent and surrounding properties. Throughout the development of this corridor, there are several stream crossings and multiple outfalls. Therefore, the management of stormwater, both quantity and quality, became a critical part of the design and was of utmost concern. Continuing along the corridor, we have the extension of Route 1260 Oak Ridge Farm Road to provide the new ingress and egress to the connector road while closing the existing connection to address the spacing concerns and the close proximity to the existing ramps. A cul-de-sac will be provided to allow residents, school buses, and emergency vehicles an opportunity to successfully turn around within the subdivision. During the location public hearing held on June 6, 2019 at Brosville Elementary, we received several comments from the residents along Route 1055 Bachelor Hall Farm Road to not connect Bachelor Hall Farm Road to the new connector road. Presently, the main ingress and egress to Bachelor Hall Farm Road is off of existing Route 311. Therefore, a cul-de-sac has been incorporated at the end of Route 1055 to allow residents, school buses, and emergency vehicles an opportunity to successfully maneuver within the subdivision. As we the Route 58 connection, as previously stated, the existing Oak Ridge Farm Road access will be obscured and a cul-de-sac installed. Collie Lane shall tie into the connector road to serve those residents. Throughout this section of corridor, there are significant fill slopes that will require guardrail. These plans also reflect the proposed right-of-way and utility easements necessary to develop the connector road. During the construction phase, access to private and commercial entrances shall be maintained at all times during the life of the project. All traffic control devices shall be placed and moved as necessary to maintain adequate property owner access at all times. Since the last public hearing, we have worked on implementing the comments we received during the location public hearing, as well as gathering of information and conducting environmental and geotechnical investigations. Technical documentation for this project address the potential environmental impacts identified in the preliminary engineering process. These areas of consideration include archaeological resources, historic resources, wetlands, waters of the U.S., biological resources, hazardous material, and the State Environmental Review Process, also known as SERP. In addition to the other items listed above, the State Environmental Review Process has been completed for the project. The following slides will include a brief summary of the findings. The William & Mary Center for Archaeological Research conducted an archaeological survey of the environmental project corridor associated with the proposed construction of Berry Hill Connector Road in Pennsylvania County. The investigation was intended to provide specific information concerning the nature and the distribution of archaeological resources within the proposed project corridor. The project corridor occupies an area of approximately 109 acres and consists largely of mature and secondary growth forest, farmland, and rural residential properties. Field work involves systematic pedestrian survey of the project corridor, including both surface examination and shovel testing. Archaeological and architectural surveys are complete. VDOT has determined that all newly discovered sites and archaeological isolated finds are not eligible for the National Register of Historic Places, and that no further work is recommended. The Department of Historic Resources concurred on May 13, 2020. The project has 15 stream and wetland crossings impacting Childress Creek, tributaries to Childress Creek, tributaries to the Dan River, tributaries to McGuff Creek, and associated wetlands. The total permanent stream impacts are 1,915 linear feet and 360 linear feet of total temporary stream impacts. Total permanent wetland impacts are 4 acres and 0.96 acres of temporary wetland impacts. Wetland impact compensation includes purchasing of 6.92 credits from the Bannister Bend Wetland Bank. Stream impact compensation includes purchasing 2,285 stream credits from the Roanoke River Mitigation Bank. The Dan River is listed as threatened and endangered waters for the following species of mussels: James spiny mussel, green floater, and the Atlantic pigtoe. The freshwater mussel site habitat assessment was performed along Childress Creek and its tributaries within the project area. No mussels were seen, live or shells, and no potential mussel habitat was identified. Based on observations made during the assessment, it is unlikely that this project will impact any native freshwater mussels in Childress Creek, its tributaries, or the Dan River downstream from the project. The Department of Wildlife Resources concurred on March 18, 2020. The presence of the northern long-eared bat was identified in the project's official species list. Tree removal is required as part of the project and is listed as an activity that may affect the northern long-eared bat. There are no known tabernacle or roost trees in the project vicinity. In January and February of 2020, a limited Phase 1 environmental site assessment, corridor study, and Phase 2 investigation was conducted respectively. The Phase 1 environmental site assessment corridor study, which assessed potential recognized environmental conditions within or adjoining the environmental study area that may affect construction methods, design, or cost of the proposed improvements. One location was identified due to the uncertainty of the extent of the partially buried waste seen at the surface. Subsurface exploration activities were recommended. No evidence indicative of buried solid waste or petroleum impacted soil was present in soil cores collected in the vicinity of the recognized environmental condition. Let me provide you now with information regarding right-of-way for this project. There will be approximately 50 acres of proposed right-of-way needed for the Route 311 Berry Hill Connector Road project. The right-of-way will be acquired from numerous properties along the east and west sides of the project corridor. No business, residents, or non-profit organizations will be displaced as a result of this project. All rights of way acquisition will be completed in accordance with the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisitions Policy Act of 1970, amended in 1987. The acquisition of necessary rights-of-way for this project will be handled by VDOT. All proposed acquisitions will follow federal and state laws and VDOT policies and procedures. The Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policy Act of 1970, known as the Uniform Act, is the federal law that is followed for appraisals, negotiations, and relocations of families and businesses. Each property will undergo a valuation process to determine the fair market value for each acquisition. During negotiations, the landowner will receive a copy of the acquisition valuation, a title examination, a bona fide offer in writing for the acquisition, along with all pertinent construction plan sheets. The VDOT negotiator will communicate with the landowner to ensure all questions, comments, and concerns are addressed. In the spring of 2019, Route 58 corridor development funds were placed on the project. The project currently has funds for preliminary engineering, right-of-way, relocation of utilities, and construction. The total project estimate is $33.46 million. To recap, in the fall of 2019, a location public hearing was held to determine the corridor alignment location. Comments were received and addressed and presented to the Commonwealth Transportation Board for review and approval. On September 18, 2019, the Commonwealth Transportation Board passed a resolution approving the location public hearing. We are here today to review and discuss the current design for the Route 311 Berry Hill Connector Road project. Comments must be submitted and received 10 days after this meeting to be part of the design approval process. After comments are received and addressed, a request for design approval shall be made to the chief engineer for approval. After receipt of approval, the right-of-way acquisition and final design process will begin. The anticipated advertisement for construction date is the fall of 2022. Let's recap how you can submit your comments. Comments will be accepted in a number of ways. You may leave a verbal comment via voicemail at 434-856-8253. Submit a written comment via email using reina.rosado@vdot.virginia.gov or via mail at Virginia Department of Transportation, 4219 Campbell Avenue, Lynchburg, Virginia, 24501. Attention, Reina Rosado. Alternatively, online in the chat below or on the project page on VDOT's website at www.virginiadot.org. Comments must be received or postmarked within 10 days after the virtual design public hearing, Friday, August 14th, 2020, to be considered part of the official public hearing record. We encourage the public to stay informed. The schematics and presentation, including graphics, will be posted on our website, www.virginiadot.org. Should you have any further questions, please feel free to contact me, Reina Rosado, at the number listed. Thank you for watching and participating in this very important virtual design public hearing for the Route 311 Berry Hill Connector Road. This concludes the virtual design public hearing presentation. So that concludes the presentation. If you have any comments or questions, now is your opportunity to submit them in the chat, and we can answer as many questions that we have time for.
Why did they decide to close off Oak Ridge Farms Road at close to the bypass instead of the other end?
So the stated in the presentation, major reason is the close proximity to the interchange. In trying to develop the alignment, the vertical alignment for the connector road, it resulted in significant fills in that area. And so it became difficult to try to make that connection to Oak Ridge Farm Road at that end. And we felt like it would better serve the subdivision with a cul-de-sac at the end of it, and minimize. One of the comments that we got at the location public hearing was that there were a lot of times where tractor trailers, GPS, you know, Google, all those websites would send tractor trailers down some of these roads that then, really they couldn't fit down and maneuver and that kind of thing. So those are some of the reasons we considered it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
There are questions in the chat box.
So we have a question here. It says, can the abandoned part of the Berry Hill Road be developed into a walking or bike trail? I'm not going to say no, that anything is possible. That would be really up to Pennsylvania County and those entities. But I think that's a good idea. Next question. Could you explain the reasons 311 is not adequate for the industrial park? So based on the projected traffic for the industrial park, it would create a volume of traffic that would not, the existing Berry Hill Road would not be able to sustain. So as in the presentation, the ultimate build out would be showing 4 lanes, but right now, and where the mega park is in the development of that, we're only proposing the development of 2 lanes, so 1 lane in each direction, which would match what exists on Berry Hill today. And this would serve a level of service of people, about 5,000 new jobs. So if a business came in that, say like Amazon or something large of that nature, that would create that kind of traffic over that demand of 5,000, then we would have to start looking into the development of the 4 lanes. But at this point, where we are is all we need is the 2 lanes. However, looking forward, we want to make sure that we are thinking forwardly, and so minimize future impacts with streams and wetlands, as well as impacts to the property owners. We'd like to just build the 2 lanes and grade for the additional lanes in the future, so that when there is a need, then the project that comes through would be very minimal impacts to the surrounding areas. We could literally go through and it would be more of a paving type project rather than a large earth moving, what this project would be. Let's see. What other questions we have here? There's a couple about Bachelor Hall Farm Road, examine the cul-de-sac location. Those are all things that, if you provide a comment in some writing, we can, and in here as well, we can look at that. We just would need to know more specifics, and we can speak one-on-one with that individual to get a better idea of what they're looking for. So I would say any specific type questions related to your property itself probably would be best if we could answer them offline, and we'll follow up with you afterwards.
I would just like to take a moment to comment as a resident of Bachelor Hall Farm Road that I think the only positive thing of this project is having the cul-de-sac at the end of 1055 Bachelor Hall Farm Road. I'm not looking forward to having additional traffic past my property on the connector road, and I'm even looking less forward to having more traffic past my house on Bachelor Hall Farm Road.
I'm very in favor of having a connection there because, as I stated in the comment, I'm at the very end of the road. Putting a cul-de-sac there just opens up an opportunity for people to have a place to loiter and do other things. Also, this road is coming very close to my house, and the only advantage I have is to have direct access to this road rather than having to go all the way around to Buford Road. So being that I'm more negatively impacted than anyone else on Bachelor Hall Farm Road, I feel like my voice should carry a little weight.
This is Brian Casto. I'm the district location and design engineer, and I just want to chime in and strongly encourage everybody online now and over the next several days as the public has an opportunity to review the plans and the documents, and should be able to watch this presentation again, but to submit comments in writing. There are several ways: by email, paper mail. The comments will be recorded as part of the official design approval process. I just want to touch base on a couple of questions. I think Raina did an excellent job addressing some of them. The question about the abandoned part of the Berry Hill Road, keep in mind that's kind of just a small segment that will be abandoned. If you look at the plans, you will see what is currently Berry Hill Road will tee into what will now be the Berry Hill Road through movement to the interchange. Now, that section of roadway should not see near the volumes, but that is also dependent on the development of the industrial part. But if it doesn't see the volumes, that is something that the locality can definitely look into. The question about the 311 not being adequate for the industrial park, we've got 2 studies that show the existing infrastructure failing at, I believe it was 5,000 jobs, and the RIFA folks' plan shows potential of 20,000 jobs in the full build out. So we have to take steps to such that we can have that development that they are looking for. And like Raina said, we just had a couple of individuals comment on to cul-de-sac or not to cul-de-sac, but that's exactly what we need to hear in writing so we can make an evaluation as to how to handle that particular design feature. Thank you.
There's a question about the mega site. I don't know as if I'll be able to answer this question. The question is, does the county have a fully implemented plan for 5,000 jobs? I don't know that. Again, that's definitely a Pennsylvania County RIPA specific question. I do know that they are continually, looking for entities and to come into the mega site. The specifics of that, I unfortunately do not know the answer to.
Raina, this is Brian again. I believe what we heard from the folks with RIFA and the local governments was when they were entertaining specific businesses to locate within the industrial park, the common reason that they backed out was the transportation access. And thus, that is why the RIFA and the localities pursued this project.
Any other questions that we can answer? Or if somebody wants to see a plan sheet better, plan view?
Is the plan to improve 1055 Bachelor Hall Farm Road regardless of whether or not it connects in or has a turnaround?
The plan is not to, so the scope of the project does not include improving the entirety of Bachelor Hall Farm Road. It's really just to make the connection for the cul-de-sac. Sorry about that. Yeah, so the plan right now is, let's see if I can pull it up. So here, it would really, again, just be minimal. And even if it were to connect in, the grades here are relatively flat, so it wouldn't take much to tie in.
So I have a question. With the design of the road, why is there a large curve in it with what you have on the screen now? There's a large curve.
Right here?
Yes, I don't understand why that's there, mainly because it curves towards my home at the very top of your screen. I don't understand why it doesn't go straight.
Well, if it were to go straight, then I would be impacting other people's homes. But the other reason is also that there is an existing, rather large stream here. So in order to minimize impacts to the stream, we had to put in this curve.
So I'm not as concerned about the impacts to the stream as I am the impacts to my home and privacy and how much closer it's coming now. Is there any opportunity to build some sort of sound barrier to help?
Project doesn't require a sound barrier. So, you know, there isn't a call for it. So, we wouldn't be installing that as part of this project.
Yeah, the original plan did not have it curving or coming that close to my home. That's why I asked. It's very close.
The original, like I said, the location in the location public hearing, it was literally a line, so it didn't have any engineering associated with it. It was just a corridor saying within this area we would be developing a horizontal alignment. As we survey and environmental information as well as geotechnical information, that's helped to define and illustrate what you see on the screen today.
Again, this is Brian Castro, not to sound like a broken record, but that is something that we would like to see in a written comment. What we are charged to do is to develop plans for a roadway that will meet the needs and the requirements at the most cost effective to the taxpayers. And that is the alignment that you see right here. Once we get to this stage, we review the comments and then we will have to make determinations as far as balancing impacts and costs. But this is the exact type of information we're trying to get out in this process. So thank you.
So Brian, I filled out the questionnaire that came with the website. What other written documentation would you like? An email, or can you give me any idea what else you would like?
Typically, most citizens will interact with an email. Some folks like to put it in the paper mail. It does not make a difference. A copy of whatever we receive will be part of the design approval documentation that will be submitted to our central office for approval. But like I said, the alignment that you see was based off of the survey information we had. And as Raina indicated, there's a pretty, there was a substantial elevation drop right there, which, you know, that costs a lot of money to bring in the dirt and move the road. So that's the reason why the alignment is what you see. But you can submit it in any written format. Typically, go ahead, Raina.
You should have received there is a comment sheet online. So you can, if you completed that, then that'll get submitted to me. I know I've sent out comment sheets to several property owners already. So again, and they can be, as Brian said, sent via email, mail, however you wish. And if the comment sheet that we provided is not enough for you to express yourself, again, you can, we've gotten letters and all sorts of things. So they all will get included as part of the transcript. Well, we're gonna stay on. So if you have other things to do, and you don't have any other questions, this is our, we did the presentation. We will put the presentation up on our website so that if you want to review it again, because you didn't hear something or just want more information, that'll be there for you as well. But like I said, we'll stay on and answer as many more questions as anybody has.
And as Raina previously stated, we have the ability, I should say, she has the ability. We can pull up any plan sheet, zoom in on whatever parcel or location on the corridor of the project that you have a question about. I think I'm correct, Raina.
Correct.
There needs to be aware. Maybe make you a little more.
Hey, Raina, this is Scott Waller. Could you email this presentation out? I have the paper copies, but I did not get anything electronically.
I cannot eat the. It is way too large to email, but it will. Like I said, we will post this on the website. And then,
He's asking for it, and this whole presentation is on the website.
Okay.
That's right. Then just email the link. I'm sorry if I offended you.
Hmm?
What's the harm with just leaving it?
No, it's not.
It's
Yeah,
interesting and it's gonna go.
Mr. Waller, are you still there?
I am. The link would be great.
I'll email you the link.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So we did get a question. So Buford Road, we had a question about Buford Road. There is no bridge for Buford Road. It's the road will get realigned and to better tie in with the connector road to make sure that there's appropriate site distance. So there are some curves there that will get improved as part of the project. No bridge. That does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other plans, a typical section, anything else anybody would like to see? Anything from the presentation?
So I'm sorry. The call dropped. I didn't hear if you explained anything about Buford Road. I didn't hear it, and
No,
you're
not
breaking up when you speak.
okay. I'll see if I move closer to the computer. So Buford Road, here's Buford Road. Can you see it on the screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So someone asked whether there would be a bridge. There won't be a bridge. It's just going to be a realignment of the road to better improve some of the radiuses that exist on the road and to tie in, have a smoother transition between the connector road and Buford Road and to provide appropriate site distance when we get there because there'll be stop control.
So are there stop signs on Buford Road?
There will be stop signs on Buford Road, yes.
Okay, so what are you guys going to do about the value of property that you're cutting off?
Sorry, you broke up there.
You've landlocked everybody on the other side of Buford Road.
Buford Road will continue to go through.
So Buford Road, there will not be an interruption all the way to Rocky Knoll Lane, all the way down. There won't be any interruption in the road there. There'll just be stop signs.
That's correct.
For a major bypass going across a small road.
Well, it's only right now, if the traffic were to develop, like I said, if there was a Amazon or some large entity that were to come into the mega site, or the mega site would just, if they developed over the course of time, where then there would be a need for a traffic signal or roundabout like that. That's something in the future down the line. Right now, the only demand that we have is for a 2-lane road in both directions along Buford Road as well as the connector road. And so the demand of traffic would only require stop signs.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Raina, did you see the question that just posted?
I did not.
I mean, I can take it, but you've actually laid the alignment. You probably know that like the back of your hand.
What is it?
How we're going to go from a 2 to a 4 lane when it's required,
So when it's
and the public process as well.
so that again, that would be if it were to go ever to a 4 lane, that would be it would go through the same similar process that this project is going through. So it would have a public hearing for comments, just as this. They would share plans as to how the transition would happen to develop those 2 additional lanes. But what this project is doing is laying the foundation for that if it ever needs to happen in the future. Anything else, Brian, that
Well, I was going to throw out one difference would be this project, we had to have the location hearing that was approved by the Commonwealth Transportation Board. That was the first meeting that we had. Then this road will exist. If the 4-laning project ever comes around, that location hearing would not be required. We would just have to hold a separate design public hearing where we gave the public the opportunity to look at the preliminary plans, et cetera. One other thing, and it may have been said before, but just to reemphasize, is if we do move to where this facility needs to be a 4-lane facility, there should be minimal additional right-of-way required at that time. And most of that would be if we have changes and evolution of design standards, et cetera.
the other thing to note is that if we were to go 4 lanes, the interchange itself would also have to be upgraded. We would need an additional bridge or a larger bridge that could hold 4 lanes of traffic. So it would I said it would be a more extensive project.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Raina, can you put those email addresses up for yourself and Brian once more? If they are on the website, I'm not finding them.
So here is on the screen is my phone number, and actually you can click on that. That will take you to my email address. But the email address is Raina.Rosado at v.virginia.gov, and Brian's is just Brian.Casto, and that's Casto at v.virginia.gov.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Also, like I said, here's our website. A lot of the information that I shared today is on here. Here's the renderings, plans. We will post the presentation up here. Again, here is a location map, brochure that's got a little bit more information, the advertisement, and then there's the comment form. That is another way of responding to the public hearing. That, or like we said, you're free to send an email with separately as well. We've also asked that you can take a moment to fill out our section Title 6 comment sheet. Helps with some demographic information. Again, this presentation has been recorded and we will post it onto the website. It will most likely take a few days just because of the size of the files. there any other questions, comments that we haven't answered?
Would you happen to have a plan that shows the connector road as it relates to the Berry Hill Road and Buford Road, how that comes through across there? That it's like each plan shows a section, but we can't get the full view. I'm on the website looking at the plans.
Can you see it on the screen? So I have it on the screen right now of the plan sheet.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yes, I can see your screen. I'm not. I have to orient to what you're showing. I'm trying to figure out what we're looking at.
Okay, so this end is the tie-in for at Berry Hill, and then in this direction, as we go, if we were walking down the road in this direction, we're heading towards 58.
Okay, that's the current bypass going over Berry Hill.
So,
Is that
say
correct?
I didn't hear your question. What you said?
That's the current bypass going over Berry Hill Road. Is that correct? What I'm looking at?
No.
No,
So-
this is Buford right here.
Right.
Okay.
This is Buford Road, and you can see. I'm gonna try to zoom in a little bit more. See these dashed lines right here? It says asphalt pavement. So the road, the existing road is right here between these lines right now.
Okay, I got that.
Okay, and so then the curves in here will change and flatten out a little bit to better want to be better with the road and the speed of the road. And then it will also tie in more 90 degrees to the connector road. So this represents the connector road. These are the the lanes of the connector road. Right now, we don't have any pavement marking or anything like that showing. But there's this about 12 feet wide in here. Here's the shoulder right in here. There's a shoulder here. And so this would just make this, again, it would just be just a standard connection with, we put stop bars here and stop signs on both sides. And in the future, if they were to widen to have the 4 lanes, then this intersection would change the road. Those roads would be built parallel here on this side. And again, then the intersection would get different. But for now, it's just going to be serving for the existing 2 lanes of the hall and then the proposed 2 lanes of connector road.
Okay. My question really was, do you have a Google map aerial that you can pull back, and we can look down on the property and see Beaufort Road, see Berry Hill, see it through the brick company, see a bigger view of this? I mean, thank you for going over the detailed design. I want to see a big picture.
Well, this is, I mean, I can go to Google Earth, but Google Earth, Beaufort Road is not mapped, so we can't get
I'm sorry, I meant Google Earth. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, I can open Google Earth, but Google Earth, Beaufort Road isn't mapped on Google Earth. I went there yesterday. But I mean, if this is essentially what you see, what's missing here is at the top of the screen is where Berry Hill is today, you know, so that connection would still remain.
Right.
I don't know what that is right there on Berry Hill.
Yeah, so on Buford, where the red line, you know, it sort of looks like a T. The red line represents what on Buford? What does that?
That red line represents, so the red lines represent the proposed right of way.
Okay, but the road continues. All right, so the top of the screen is Berry Hill. You turn down Buford, and there's no interruption right there where the red line is. And then when you get to the connector road, there's going to be stop signs.
Correct. Yeah, this just represents, I believe Beaufort Road is a prescriptive easement. So this just represents what our proposed right of way, what we're projecting our proposed right of way to be.
Okay, we're with you. Okay.
So it doesn't mean that the road's stopping here. You can see, so this house will continue, driveway will still exist and be able to turn onto the road and travel, in both directions, just like it, normally does today.
Okay.
Same.
And then
Yeah,
the section of Berry Hill that Buford Road connects to now, will any of that section be shut down?
So make sure I understand. You're saying the section of Lynchburg Road that connects to Berry Hill up here at the top.
Yes.
Yeah, that will all stay the same.
It will all stay the same. So Berry Hill will not be interrupted?
Berry Hill will be, so let me go back to, so Berry Hill, what you know as Berry Hill, which is this road here, 311, it just will no longer continue straight this way. It will come and tee in, and at this tee in, then you'll have to make a left or a right. And then, so then, and if you were coming from the mega site direction, if you wanted to get on to what I'm going to, existing Berry Hill, they're going to have to come and they'll have to make a left to get onto anything that's on Berry Hill, existing Berry Hill. Does that make sense?
And what vicinity of Berry Hill is that? I'm just trying to acclimate to this map. So that where it tees into the connector? About where is that on Berry Hill? Is it some landmarks? So we know where the bypass goes over Berry Hill. We know where the fire department is on Berry Hill.
So again, if you're, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the, I get a little blurred. So this is the first lot of the mega site. So you can see here, Beaufort, right in here.
Okay.
Like I said, it's a little blurry.
Oh, see, I see it. Mark, it goes right here. Here. Oops. You got it off the screen.
Hopefully you don't get dizzy. So it's coming through here. Here's Beaufort. And it'll tie in and around here.
All right, so it'll cross Beaufort and then it'll tee into the connector on down Berry Hill Road towards the park.
Correct. Basically, the first lot.
Got it.
That makes sense.
Yes, it does. So you're crossing over Beaufort, and then this is Industrial Park down here, lot 2, 1, 2, 3, and it's gonna, so that one little section right there in front of lot 1, you'll have to turn, yeah, that curve, and then turn right or left to get on the connector road.
Correct. So, you know, if you were coming in this direct, like if you lived maybe on this upper end of Beaufort, and you normally, you know, go this way to go somewhere, then you could still do that. It's just, it'd be a little, you know, there'll be a little extra turn there.
Right. Okay. Got it. That was very helpful. Thank you for walking us through that.
No problem. And like I said, if you, you know, after this you think of 5 more questions, just email me or call. And like I said, most of the information is on the website. We're going to try to keep everything as up to date as possible so that everybody is up to date with the information as we have it to share. Any other questions? Anything else I can share or show? Anything else in the presentation that anybody'd like to need to show again, or plan sheet, or anything else? Please just let me know. Again, all of it is on the website, which is www.virginiadot.org. And if you search 311, find all the project information, and again, you can zoom in. just checking to see if there's any more last questions. We have about 15 minutes left before video conferencing will end. So if you have any last questions or comments or concerns, please feel free to either enter it in the chat bar or unmute yourself and ask if you want to see something in particular. I'll do my best to bring it up and share it with everybody. But we do thank you for your participation and your time this evening. So please let us know how else we can help. we have about 5 minutes left for the public hearing. I just put in the chat box my contact information, the phone number, as well as Brian Casto's email address that was asked about earlier this evening. So if you have any last questions, please let us know. Otherwise, at 6 o'clock, the public hearing will adjourn. Thank you.
Hey, this is Brian. Not to take up the last few minutes, but I don't know if we're going to get any more questions, but I know we have a lot of folks online. They're still online with the department that have helped put the plans together, that have helped put this project in the position that it's in now. And I just wanted to thank all of y'all for the work you've done and for getting us to where we are. To have just about completed the very first design public hearing in the state of Virginia, I believe it went as smooth as I could have imagined. So I appreciate everybody's work on it, and especially yours, Raina.
Yeah, I'd just like to briefly add, y'all made history and did it in fine fashion. Excellent work.
Well, at 6 o'clock, that concludes our virtual public hearing for the Route 311 Berry Hill Connector Road. As previously stated, if you have any comments, we need to receive those comments no later than 10 days after this virtual public hearing. So that would make it August 14th, 2020, for those comments to be included as part of the transcripts and the design approval process. Again, we thank you for your time and have a good evening.